Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Hawaiian beaches in the Love Room on the beautiful Big Island of Hawaii. Yay!
Yay!
Yay! And I'm here with Lori Tibitot. She's my panelist, my trusty panelist. Oh, yay!
So much is going on. Wow.
Yeah.
What a week.
And then nothing is happening. Isn't that fun?
Happening exactly. But boy, does that threaten. So obviously I'm having a hard time with that one because Peter has a really hard time with that one. So does everybody else. So apparently I am. And I've asked to get that feedback from what's happening, from what's apparently happening. Okay, so it was my nephew's birthday yesterday. So we had a party at his house and we had a great time, and I posted the happy birthday, video, happy birthday. Everybody sang and I posted it. So we got some people, most people are very happy. It was a happy birthday, Matt. I hope it was a great day, all that. But there was a couple. Where's the social distancing? I said, we aren't afraid, Jane. None of us are, so we're all good. She says, I'm not saying you should be afraid, just have common sense. I said, I have that in spades, Jane. I see it clearly. So another one right underneath that, Scott says, it's not about being afraid, it's about being smart and slowing the spread. Unless none of you have any contact with any other people, you can't be sure of not spreading. Only different from the spring breakers on the beaches by magnitude, whatever that means. So Jane comes back and says, I can't even debate this with you, Lori, because your way of thinking is in a whole other dimension from mine. When I sit here and not able to hug and kiss my grandchildren, I have to worry about family members going to work, still risking getting sick and bringing illness home to their families, while I have friends whose loved ones have COVID-19 and are on respirators, and others cannot see their parents because they are in nursing homes and are allowed to see them, so they have to see them through this window. You apparently are in the utopian world where your ego tells you it's not real. Wake up, Lori, I'm done. Too upset with this. So then a different person says, wow, this surprises me. This is sort of ignorance that will keep people getting sick and cause more heartache for many that it doesn't have to. So then she comes back and says, well said, Bruce. So I came back and said, I see and hear you clearly. I'm so very sorry that what I'm doing is triggering your anger. This is what I have come to see clearly. This anger is already living inside of you. I am just the trigger for it to come alive in you. You're keeping it hidden most of the days, and that's why it's so hard to be alone with yourself. That anger you project onto me, being one to blame, keeps you in bondage. If it was truly that way, we would all be in pain and suffering, blaming another who caused it. But I'm the catalyst for you if you are a little bit willing to look inside and see what you are thinking and believing that I hit with this post. All you have to be is a little bit willing to see the truth. This is such a great opportunity for humanity to see what's really going on in this dream we call life. It's not that we thought what we thought it was, and to be awake in the dream is truly what Jesus said, to be in the world but not of it. I love you both very much. I hope you can feel that I have zero judgment towards anyone. So Scott says, I for one am not angry, just sad and disappointed that there are so many people who are acting like you are and thus putting other people in danger. You can get this metaphysical and spiritual, you can get as metaphysical and spiritual about this as you want, but the facts are facts, and behavior like this has risks for others. They put others in big, whether you care about risks to you or not. I said, I'm very sorry this hurts. It hurts you to see this. He says, I'm more concerned about it hurting others. You're a bit far away for it to affect me because he's in California. So anyway, I
So basically, it's just conflict. That's all.
yes.
And here's the thing, when someone, this is coming up really clear for me today too, when someone is expressing disapproval of you,
Mhm.
don't
That's
try to change their mind.
right. It's
Just
mine.
don't try to change their mind.
So it's my disapproval of me.
Well, here's the thing. It's fear of seeing. It's fear of seeing clearly that makes it as if they disapprove of you. They don't disapprove of you. The things that you're sharing with them, they're true, but the way they land is like an attack. So that's why, it's like what you're sharing with them. It's like it's like when it's coming from that position, look at how you feel, because there's a feeling there about wanting to change their mind about the judgment,
Yeah.
wanting to, and underneath that, that's wanting their approval. So the thing
Ah.
is, and here it is, Lori, the more you talk like this and the more you come up against your ego, you know what I mean, is the more you're talking about the truth, you're coming up against your ego, because there's major fear of you seeing anything. Now, the ego's game is to get you wrapped up with that whole conversation, because when you get wrapped into the conversation, every time it goes back and forth, it kind of gives you more baggage, more shit to chew on in your mind.
Yeah.
Right?
Yo, definitely.
So that's what the ego means to do. You don't have to have any kind of conversation. The way Jesus put it is, don't cast your pearls before swine.
Yeah, and I don't.
You don't understand that?
Oh, pearls before swine. Does that mean like because I'm seeing through it, they're not, it doesn't mean they have to?
It doesn't mean that they have to. And also, when you're putting your you could say your wisdom out there,
Right.
right?
Right.
And it's falling on deaf ears. It's not doing any good. All they're gonna do is turn around and attack you.
Right.
It's not even like neutral. You don't just put it out there and it's just like nothing. It's like an attack every time. And the reason for that is to show you so that you can see how you're taking it. There's a sense of defensive-ness in there, and I saw in your video where you did a what is it, Byron Katie quote, where she said, the first act of war is defense, or defense is the first act of war. So that's the thing. Once you feel defensive, and I've been through this many times, so I speak from experience. Once you feel defensive about it, that's where, your action is going to come out of that defensiveness. It's going to justify your action. It's going to justify trying to teach someone who only wants to project right now.
Yeah.
See? They don't need it. They don't need a teaching from you. They're not open to a teaching from you. When it comes to allowing the wisdom to flow, and it comes to allowing the wisdom to flow, it has to do with an openness.
Okay. So last night, before all of this, last night at the party, oh my gosh, the connections I made. This young girl is Matt May's girlfriend. She's so open. It was so beautiful. Our back and forth. It was amazing. I freaking was so on fire because it felt so good. And then after she left, another lady who's really suffering, and she's been on the periphery at the parties and things that I go to, and she's always saying there's something about you. There's something about you. Well, she cornered me, and we started talking last night, and she was all about being responsible, and I was so probed in there with her, and she goes, and she was hugging me, and she goes, "How much do I owe you?"
Oh my goodness. Aw.
It was so sweet, but she was.
Isn't it the best?
It when it's received Openly?
Yeah.
Fuck, I can't even.
But then you see the contrast. You see the
Yes,
opposite. It's so easy. You feel the difference. Look at the feeling.
I feel the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Um,
you just don't need, and that's why I find myself when someone wants to come on and argue with me, I'll just unfriend them.
yeah,
They won't see my posts, and also they don't make comments on the post. If I see them around, in body, so to speak,
yes,
then there's no problem. There's no issue because I'm not saying the things that I say that get the trigger going.
right.
So, and it's when there's that sense of, oh, I don't know, I don't value you, basically.
Right, right.
Oh, that's good to know. Thank you for letting me know. Unfriend.
Okay, right, right, right. Well,
Yeah.
this both of these people are just, I mean, I ended up posting, it came up after all of that. It came up that I went through my notifications because I had said some nice things after it, and a notification came up that from last year on this date that Phoebe had posted to me. It says, a kind answer soothes angry feelings. So I tagged them two in it, and Bruce said, I don't argue that you're a very kind person. It just scares me. Your thinking towards this and knowing others feel this way too is very concerning for your safety as well as everyone else's. That's all. And then Jane says, you're totally missing the point. You're so blind to everything. For some reason, you seem to think you're above all creation. Your actions are like those of a child who doesn't totally understand the situation. Frankly, I'm concerned about you. Your ego, actions, and words show that you have no clear picture of the seriousness going on in our world, and it's selfish of you. Please stop and think about what other people are going through before being lackadaisical with your thoughts. And anyway, so I she also said, please don't. I know you're just going to put thumbs up or a heart next to this. Please don't. So I didn't. I just left it.
Uh-huh.
I just left it. Actually, you know what? I think I'm just going to delete it. I'm going to delete the whole post.
Oh, you're so sweet, Lori. You know what? Here's an important point for people. I know this is something that's going on a lot right now because there's a lot of shaming going on. Even if I think if you are trying to follow the thing, there's just that's the thing. There's fear and shaming, so that's what occurs. Um, be a happy learner. It'll remind you to be really happy about it. Let it be what it is. Let it be what it is. Let it show itself the way it does. Feel what you feel. You're learning, and that's what it's all for.
Right.
So there's no problem at all. There's no problem. You didn't do it wrong. Going through the feeling of all of that gives you experience. And that's the reason why you manifested a world, so you can get the experience that you need to see through that thought of separation. So it's a really awesome thing, and it's something to be celebrated, really.
Okay.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. It is. It is.
It is.
So,
I feel that. I know that deep down. I know it.
yeah.
I feel
So,
that.
it's kind of, you could say it's kind of a time to be extra alert about what your energy is getting used for. Because when you're speaking the truth, especially in a climate where the majority of the world is believing in lies, okay? There's going to be a lot of people who are open to you, a lot of people who are ready for it. They're thirsty for it. And then there's going to be the fearful ones trying to shut you down. Don't give them any play. You don't have to answer to them. You
Well,
make sure that.
obviously, I needed to answer to get that feeling. I needed
Yes,
to
exactly.
go
That's
through.
exactly right. You don't have to stay there. Let's put it that way. See, now that it's been kind of like wrapped up. The common thing that happens after that is you tend to hold a grievance about it.
I don't, and I said to them, I love them both, and I'm not holding anything against
Yes,
them.
and here's the thing. This goes back and forth. So just be open to see it, because anytime a thought crosses your mind about them, it's very likely that it's a reflection of a grievance. Unless you're feeling, when you think of them, when the situation crosses your mind, unless you feel a huge sense of relief and love every single time, it's reflecting a grievance that you don't see. This is very common. That's why I'm pointing it out. So be on the alert, be on the lookout for any thoughts about those people that you had some sort of seeming conflict with. You didn't really. No argument is possible, but you had some sort of seeming conflict with them. What occurs after that is thoughts cross your mind that say, basically, those people are fucked up. That's not your voice.
Yeah.
That's not your voice, okay? But the thought that's pretending to be about them is actually about you, and it's automatically being believed. So be on the watch for any thoughts that cross your mind about them, making any thoughts that also analyze yourself, like how you could have done it better or anything like that.
Right.
Those are the attack thoughts, okay? So in order to drop the grievance, you have to be alert to the grievance.
Come up, yes.
Yes. Watching. You don't have to define yourself like I'm completely this and this about it. When that is something that needs to be expressed about the situation, more often than not, it is hiding a grievance.
Okay, gotcha.
More often than not, that's what's going on. Because look, the ego only the ego moves to define you. You do not move to define yourself. You don't need any definition. So the grievances, you could say, are impersonal. It's world grievances, and the reason that you had the whole experience and the thoughts and everything like that is to heal the world, you can say. It's not a personal thing. So to say that I'm completely relieved of it, only the ego could say something like that, because you never had it in the first place.
Right. It wasn't even there for the who I really am. Right.
Exactly. So it's like, remember, whenever you're speaking to yourself. So when you get in the sense where you're trying to convince someone that you're okay and you're all just love and you're all this and that, just watch. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. You can let it play out all you want. And if you're watching as it's playing out, you'll see, oh, wow, I don't need to carry this on.
Yeah, got it.
Thank goodness I don't need to carry this on.
This is the first time that I actually am hearing everything you're saying and taking it in, and I'm not having a thought of, oh, I might have to listen to this back because I'm not getting it.
All right. I love it.
I feel what you're saying.
Hang on.
The first time.
Okay. I opened my Facebook.
Oh, is it? I
wanted to see I put it on Facebook. I wanted to see the comments, make sure that I'm answering people if they have questions. If you're on Facebook, I see your comments now. You can make comments, you can ask questions, and you can also click the link and come on with me.
Thank you, Lori. Oh.
Okay, let's see what Lori's saying over here. This is Lori Keller now.
Yeah.
I want to share, an older relative was a bit disapproving in the same way. She was imploring me to watch and or read the news, which in my story I used to do. I thanked her for her concern and told her that I was choosing love over everything else. My perception is that she dialed her stress and intensity immediately. Wow. Okay. I don't know what that means. I'm
what's
dialed somehow. Oh, lots of fear and shaming. P.S. in my story, I also told her that I love her and appreciate her. I appreciate that she was showing me love in her own way. Yay. And that's a really good example. Like, I appreciate your care. I appreciate you caring for me. you know?
Mm,
It's like, hey, thank you. I mean, that is them. That's the way they show love. They're showing love, and everyone's showing love. They're showing love through a sense of fear. And if
oh,
all your answers are going to do is antagonize them and build up their fear, that's not good for anyone. You can see, and then and then the other thing is that I notice is wow, I do not need that kind of attention.
right.
So if I'm going to be posting on Facebook that has to do with things that people repeatedly let me know that they're triggered by it, I just take them off my friends list and they don't have to see my posts.
Right.
And
Right.
they're, that they can do any conflict they want to do. It just won't be with me.
Right.
So, and then another aspect of that I mentioned a little bit earlier, the ego uses these conflict situations to get you wrapped up so that
Yes.
you can't be clear. So that you can't be clear. So watch that. Watch how the ego's using it, because you won't be so motivated to go along with the ego and try to get into a conversation where no communication can even occur.
Right. It's true. It's futile.
Yeah,
Completely futile. Yes.
it's you could see that it would be really helpful to drop the whole thing, whether you say anything or not, whether you find yourself saying anything or not, and kind of like surrender your mind. Ask how to forgive right there, because there's unforgiveness there. Ask
Right.
how to forgive right away, so
Well,
you can see everything clearly. These people that seem to be in fear of you and yourself very clearly, and come back to peace, because that's the only way you have anything to share.
right.
Okay. There's no need to hang on with anyone who doesn't value you. And if they show, the your perception, how it arises, your perception, that's your brain's interpretation of it. If you just allow your perception to be your perception and let the game story play out as it does, you'll see that, oh, I really don't need to engage that. What a blessing. Ah, ah.
Yes. Ah.
The person will be fine. They'll get whatever kind of conflict they're looking for. In the meantime, you're being released of judgment, and in that, they're released of your judgment. In a sense. See? And in that, that's like a gift to them. That's like a gift to them that you may not perceive them receiving right away, but it stays there, and it stays there for them. As soon as they're ready to receive it, they receive it, and they do get a release from that. So it's like, release them.
Ah.
See? Take care of them. If your expression makes them feel fearful, think of them like a child. What do they need? Like if it was your child and they were going, Mommy, don't talk
Right.
like that. You might not talk like that around them. It's like you're taking care of them. They're afraid. What I described would have been a trigger. It was awesome, literally, to walk through it without becoming so. She dialed it down. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So that's how you watch their reaction. If someone gets a negative reaction to you, then, you watch their reaction. Just keep watching. I make suggestions that sound like I'm saying what you should do. I'm not really saying what you should do.
Right.
I'm speaking to your consciousness in
Right.
that moment. If you find yourself reacting and you find yourself in a mode where you're going back and forth with the person, it's okay. That occurs to me sometimes too. And I know that it's awesome, because I keep on getting a deeper teaching. And what I notice is those kinds of things are further and fewer between. It's just, for the most part, most of the time, it's just way more appealing to me to just let them go.
Yeah. Yeah. But when I think about unfriending them, all of them, that's going to have a ripple effect.
Why do you say that?
Because one of them is my niece. Another one is Jane is a very, I've known her for a long time. And she says she's worried about, she goes, where's the girl I used to laugh with? And the thing is, I laugh all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe just laughing in a different way. I know, back in the day, I used to have a lot of laughter that was really sarcastic and degrading people and laughing at people like that. And it's like, that's not something that appeals to me anymore. So, it's like there's a different vibration of people that I hang out with.
Right.
It's just different.
Yes, me too.
And that's perfectly okay. There's no kind of problem with it. The thing, when you say there's going to be a ripple effect, that's also a feeling that you're feeling and a projection that you're making.
Right, because I know that it's when I found out somebody's unfriended me, what it's felt like. It's like,
so yeah.
Rejected. So that's going to hit even worse. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And it's that's between like you and your guide, whether or not you actually have the unfriending experience or not. Right. But I'll tell you that in my experience, I have had someone come up to me and say, wow, that really upset me. And I said, wow, I am so sorry. I did not mean to upset you at all. And she's like, well, why did you do that? And I said, well, you were not having a good time on my wall. And I like to have a good time with you. I like to laugh and hang out with you and love you up like this, like we're doing right now, together. And she was just like, oh, you did that for me. And she goes, the way I was looking at it was like, you were like, fuck you, and unfriending me like that. And see, that's the thing, that it's like, if you unfriend in a way that is like that, you make a wall, you make a rift between them. I mean, this person's friend of mine, maybe she thought that it was so bad that I unfriended her, but when we saw each other and we met eyes, we had a beautiful embrace.
Yeah.
She just like dropped all that in the moment. And then she brought it up to me. And then we had a conversation about it. And then it was like, oh, well.
So to me, it feels like I get the last say by unfriending her. So I don't have to deal with her anymore. Yeah, so
well, that's the way you're looking at it.
Yes. So that's
the way you're looking at it.
Right.
And here's the thing. It's if the ego has this kind of ammunition against you, if the ego has this kind of ammunition against you, you're going to feel obligated to get involved and get engaged when, there's these accusations, let's say.
Yeah.
You're going to feel obligated to get engaged. And I went through years feeling obligated to get engaged. I went years like that, like, oh, that'd be so mean if I unfriended a person, and then it occurred to me, oh, wow, I'm the one making the story like this. I could have so much, and it was amazing how much quiet there was. I could have so much peace. It's not peaceful to unfriend, like, fuck you, I get the last word,
Yeah, that's how
it's like it comes from your heart.
Right.
It comes from your heart. It's like when there's no attraction to relating like that, the action really takes care of itself. But where you've given the ego this ammunition to say that you're obligated somehow, that it would be really mean. I have one sweet friend, she had a hard time not letting dudes basically molest her because it would be mean and they might cry if she said no. It's pretty much the same thing. Okay. Let's see. I got some Facebook comments happening here. Oh, aloha, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I love you. Oh, Eve, Jimmy, oh, Joe. Aloha.
I love what Lori said. Create a group that you can post that is non-judgmental and sharing less fun posts or spiritual posts with your relatives.
Yeah, you could have a relative group where you share with your relatives. You're like, hey guys, fuck yeah, I'm over here drinking some Pepsi or something like that.
There would be nothing for me to post on.
There'd be nothing for you to post there. Yeah, when you just become a different kind of being, you know, you just basically, that's what you changed into that. You changed into that. It changed into that, you could say. It changed to that. That's the way I'm expressing now.
Yeah.
That's all. People get used to it. Watch. People get used to it. They'll get used to it and love you anyway. I got the same kind of reaction from my family too. They got used to it and they love it anyways. They don't understand it. They love to hang out with me. We could laugh and have a good time. Yeah, it's a little bit intense. It's a little bit intense for them because, you know, when they say something that's degrading them or something like that, of course something comes out to let them know. Do you know that's, you know, that's not all the time, but it's like when it needs to. When it needs to.
Like when somebody's degrading themselves?
What's that?
When someone is degrading themselves?
Yeah, you know, just making themselves limited, making themselves out to be limited, anything like that, you know.
Help it either. I can't help it. It's just
like, yeah, it's like, and they'll ask me too, Hope, how do I get out of this?
Yeah.
And then I'll go, well, here it is, and then it'll be like, oh no, that's too much.
Oh no, they can't. They can't.
Well, not all of them. Some of them can. Some of them can. There are some that can, definitely. Nael said it's protecting your innocence, freedom of expression. Yeah, and when I talk about protecting innocence, I mean protecting innocence as one innocent child of God. One. There's only one of us. So protecting innocence. It's not like I have to protect my innocence from another person. You know, it's just like protecting innocence as our identity, as our shared identity.
Right. Right.
Protecting innocence as our shared identity. So you go back to that. And you know, when you get triggered, when you get especially in defensiveness or something like that, when you get triggered, you know, a lot of the times you won't see that you're triggered. And then gradually you'll start to see that you're triggered, and you'll start to see more and more. What happens is you notice it more and more and more before you react. You just start to notice it more and more before you react. But every time you find yourself reacting, awesome. That's a celebration, because it is such a good learning. It's such a good learning experience.
Right.
And what makes it harder and go longer is only taking it as if this was bad. I am guilty. They did bad to me or something. You know, anything like that.
I did something wrong.
You did something wrong, or how you're going to do it better next time. Don't let your mind go like that. Don't let your mind go like that. Just let those thoughts arise like that, but know that they're meaningful, or just be a little bit willing to know that they're meaningful, that those thoughts are not meaningful. They cannot touch you.
Meaningless. Yeah.
Meaningless. Thank you. Love it. Okay. The freedom to speak your heart. No need to explain or argue with anyone that wants to indoctrinate your heart. Yes. Yes, exactly. Yay, Nael. Okay.
Oh, thank you for that. Who was that?
That was Nael.
Oh.
He's been on before. It's been a little while. I saw his wife was on a little bit earlier, but now she's gone. And we got Molly with a hand up. What fun, Molly.
Hey, Molly.
Are you coming on video too?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Hello.
Hi.
We just hit our 7-year mark.
Oh, that was so good that you posted that.
Isn't that awesome?
Doing Fire of the Goddess with Catalin and
Hi.
Yay, Anon.
she has clothes on, but I don't, but she'll take them off soon.
Yeah.
We're going to have some naked webinars now. That's awesome.
Draw a lot of people to your channel.
I'm also the idea of wearing a mask and goggles and gloves, and that's it, and walking around the street.
That'll be fun.
That'll be fun, is right. Well, you'll get some attention there.
I like attention. Yay. Well, thank you. I kind of gained, like, heard everything I needed to hear anyways, but I just wanted to share. And I think Anon told me you guys went over this last week or the week before. The fear never came up for me around the virus, that a lot of what has been communicated as, there's a lot of silliness that I've seen, but a big I had to acknowledge that the big fear came up for me. I already shared this with you about like full control, digitization of the human, like keeping us from nature, keeping us from each other, enslavement. And then furthermore, this feeling of despair that so many people seem to be blind or whatever, like not getting it and feeling a little bit like, oh my God. But that's okay. That's like, I feel more deeply connected. Like you guys are saying, the people that are really great, like it's more deeply connected when there's that clarity. But like my parents are a great one, because I've been living with them right now. We're on retreat, so that's great. But they have the mainstream news going on all day most of the time, and they're really good people, so I felt inclined, like they're kind of my motivation to sort of like get all the information I can get, to give real information, because they're not getting real information. And I just like damn near lost my mind the past couple of weeks. People have been like, oh, I'm like getting so much self-care and stuff done at home, and what have you been up to? And I'm like literally just freaking going down the rabbit hole. And then I'll remember, and like just processing, and then like get really into my mind, and then get into kind of like what is it representing, and like every little while, like the remembering will come through. But it's getting better for sure, but there's just like a huge thing of me really wanting to engage in the conflict, really like that fighter, like coming out to like protect the freedom fighter. That was a good one. And then also like super hyperactivity too, just like spinning, and I don't know, it's weird. It's just really got me. A part of me is very interested too, and finds it very fun to research, but it takes up so much time. It's so exhausting, it's like, so anyways, I have still tried to look for like meaning in why this is happening, and how people could do the things that they're doing to others, and just like that. But the bottom line, as I got down to this, seems like the same story as that same story of, I would call enslavement, or basically willing another for your will, or Anon pointed out, it's just the most extreme version of the ego, basically. Like I'm just seeing the most extreme, horrible, possible, imaginable things you could ever like the worst thing you could imagine. Boom, we have the story of that like worst possible scenario of a human and ego, I feel like. Anyways, so I'm still like really working through this one.
Yeah, you're just all revved up about it.
I'm confused. Like you said, it just gives you more stuff for your mind to chew on. That's
Yeah.
basically my thing. It's just
Yeah.
like, whoa, like, and then I'm like chewing, and I was like weeding, and I was like chewing, and it was a voice was like, you don't need to do that. It was like this sense of you're chewing on this stuff, and you're never gonna find an answer in the illusion.
Yeah.
That's been coming, but I think there's just this real clinging to the story of the world now.
So that's great to see.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, you could say this, like Nael said on Facebook, nothing is happening. Yeah, okay, so nothing is happening. Basically, what you're having a perception of is your brain's interpretation of energy. Your brain is interpreting energy to your body, which you are not. The brain's definitely, it's basically interpreting energy to no one. So you're making this interpretation, and a lot of us are making the interpretation, most of us are, that there's a pandemic. But there really isn't. That's the thing. The brain is making that interpretation, but really nothing's happening at all. So what you're getting the sense of right now is your mind running around with nothing, basically chewing on nothing. And you're seeing how it's keeping you wrapped up in the illusion. So you're getting that experience, you're getting that teaching. So it's not a matter of, oh, I got to get out of this chewing on everything. It's like being in acceptance of that and loving that as you're perceiving yourself going through it, because that going through it is teaching something. See, that'll make it go faster, where they're just letting it play out, because you see how you're getting the awareness of how all this is doing is holding up the illusion. You see how you're getting that awareness.
I'm really
go through it with the awareness. What's that?
I'm finally seeing that you can't find answers in the illusion. You can't find solutions in the illusion like that. A couple of things are really clicking, and then other things I'm just needing constant remembrance, but it's coming. I'll just be out for like 4 days, or I don't know, half a day, and then boom, I remember. It's like 10% of the time I get to like have a full remembering moment, which is fun. And then I go back to sleep, if you will, to dreaming, to nightmaring.
Yeah, to nightmaring. Right?
Nightmare's not as nightmarish as it used to be.
Oh, I beg to differ, but I'm not gonna go into that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty hardcore.
It's pretty hardcore, Lori. It never went away. It's the story, that's what I'm realizing. This is ancient. We have this idea that things have gotten so much better, because for a lot of us they have, but the amount of horrible demonic shit is, I don't think, gotten less. I think the whole story just continues, just different players and different scenes, but it seems to be the same age-old story, power struggle.
You know that nothing's outside of yourself. So even the story that seems to go on, when you say, I think the world is worse or whatever, that things are worse off, people are doing more demonic, satanic shit.
No, it's not more. That's what I'm saying. It's not more. It's not less. That's what I'm saying. It's the same story. That's what's so interesting to me. And I told Anon earlier, well, we're all in it together. It's till every last being wakes up. And of course it's going to be every last being wakes up, because every last being in my reality must wake up when I wake up.
You'll see. Well, here's the thing. You'll see them awake. You'll see them as they actually are.
You won't see them anymore.
When it comes down to it, no one's asleep. No, you will see them. Right now, you don't see them. You could say you don't see them. We don't see anyone. What we're seeing is what the brain interpreted to the body's eyes. They're not seeing anything real. We don't know we don't know how we really see them. So it's really, the awakening is not looking to the world to awaken, because you don't have to see all of these people move toward awakening to see completely through the illusion. The world, see, here's the thing. The world does not need to be moving toward awakening for you to see through the illusion. When you see through the illusion, you see them as they are. And then they're not like that. They don't have like a long way to go or anything.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Oh, because I've been thinking
Even
certain people I talk to, it seems like they have such a long way to go. I'm thinking, how the hell? Oh,
Do you see that? It's all in your perception. So when your mind is completely purified, you're just going to see everyone as they actually are. So it really helps to let go of that they have a ways to go, because they're not the way you see them. Like when I'm sharing with you guys, I don't think that you guys have any ways to go at all. You're all you're already there. You know, whatever it looks like to me that you need a teaching for, you're just kidding. It's all for my mind. And that's the
worst. What about the worst of the worst? Like the people that torture beings and like do the worst of the worst. I wondered, how could they be free of guilt? They're nothing. They're not there.
Not really
I made them up.
it.
Even if I found
Not
myself,
really doing anything.
even if I found myself
That's what I was thinking.
in a torture chamber, like that would be nobody doing that.
The person is not doing anything. That the person is not doing anything. And even if you find yourself in a torture chamber, it is possible to be at complete peace with that and not feel any pain with that. So just in recognizing that that's possible, because you'd be seeing through this illusion and not having the pain.
Well, then why do I feel so good when I'm in nature, when people are being loving to each other, when it's whole foods, when it's beautiful and natural, and I feel horrible and my mind caves in on itself when I'm in those dense realities? Like, so how can that jail cell become the beautiful garden with all my friends at the table?
It's through the feeling. So you're getting a contrasting feeling. It really doesn't have anything to do with what's on the surface, although it looks like that. But you're getting these contrasting feelings. So it's like I feel good in nature and all this other stuff, and I feel shitty when the energy's dense. Okay, when the energy's dense, you know the difference. Everyone can tell the difference between feeling bad and feeling good. When the energy feels dense, it's like, for one, it's acknowledging, I really don't like the way I feel. Okay, good. You don't like the way you feel. Now, what is it that I'm believing that's making me feel this way? Show me how I can see this differently, because it's only what you're believing and it's not the circumstance. See, the ego will constantly have you chasing a better circumstance so that you can feel better. You don't have to. The circumstances are arising on their own. And you're going to have more better feeling circumstances if you look at the upset feeling that you have and acknowledge that you need another interpretation. You need another interpretation. That's the whole reason you're getting an upset feeling, so that you can ask for that and you could be given that gift. And if you know you're sharing that experience with another person, you're also sharing that gift. So you don't have to make that upset feeling anything meaningful.
So I have a belief that I can be cut off from nature and cut off from my loved ones and cut off from all the things.
It won't matter.
Well,
it won't matter. That's the thing. It doesn't matter. When you're happy and content within yourself, you can see yourself in a jail cell and being happy and content, because that's what it is. So the thing about you making it matter, it's kind of asking for those kinds of manifestations, because you make it matter to yourself. See, you make it matter in your mind. You say, wow, that would be really shitty if they came over and put me in a camp, and then the next thing you know, I can't be in nature and stuff like that. It's like, no, it wouldn't. I'm telling myself a story right now. Nothing is shitty.
I had, a couple that I wouldn't let go of. I'm the doer. This is the new one. Like that I'm definitely got my teeth on pretty good. That every experience is neutral. Or like not neutral, but that that's like, whoa, I guess that was the next chipping away that had to happen.
Yeah, it's all neutral, and the choice you make, what you're gonna make meaningful, is very powerful. That's not neutral at all. That's like has power to make it like it as if it was created. See, it gets you believing it. It gets us. It's very believable, but it comes back down to whatever you perceive is a projection from your brain, reporting back information to your body, which you are not. That's why I say it's all occurring naturally. It's all playing out. Everything you need to do, everything you need to say, everything is all playing out. It's playing out through the body sense. The brain is reporting to the body, and the body's getting played out. That's all. From your position where you are as awareness, it's just a matter of whether you're going to make those brain interpretations of energy real. If you're gonna add meaning and give truth to that, or if you're going to accept the vision of the creator. Accept the vision of the creator, so that in that moment you allow yourself to feel how the creator feels for you. And that's why any upset feeling is a catalyst for this. It's almost like it makes a constriction, and then when there's a release, it's a bigger release. It's like more space. It's like a deeper breath. That's why I get excited about triggers. It's like, oh, I'm triggered. Hooray.
Yeah. Yeah. Because now I can feel the clinging within the reality. And there's actually that difference, that I know I'm clinging, that I know I'm believing in the story, that I know I'm getting wrapped up in the story. I didn't know that before. So
yeah, that's huge.
That feels good.
Yeah, that's really big. That's a big teaching, because even when you find yourself wrapped up in it, now it's a different quality. Now it has a different quality.
And it's easier to get out of. It's easier to see through.
It will be.
As they happen, there's a thing of, oh, right, I can get a new interpretation for this. That's what I went through today.
Oh, right. That's what it's for again.
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness I can have peace instead of this.
I can have peace instead of this, yes.
The question, do I wish to have peace in this moment?
Yeah, because that the answer might be no, I want to pursue this.
Obviously we don't want peace. We must really want, we just want all of this, because this is what's happening. That's what it seems like to me. Like, that's what I always go back to, is what is the point? Why do it seems like we must be kidding too, that we want to learn anything also, or we don't want peace. So it must just be like we're making like a movie that we find it like it's a really good drama. It would be a boring movie if everything was just awesome. We want to throw in some drama and some plot twists so that we can like keep ourselves entertained by it.
Yeah, to make it seem,
then it doesn't really matter. Like nothing really changes or gets hurt. No one's actually hurting anybody. Earth, like everything is whole and unchanged. Truth is inherently whole, inherently unchangeable. So it's just like for fun, I guess, but I don't know.
It's really for learning. It's really for learning, from the ego's point of view, it's for avoiding death. Because when you got the sense of separation, immediately it seems like you are guilty and deserving of punishment, which is in your mind is death. So this world is to save you from death. If you don't have this world, then you just have nothing. You just have a guilty mind and death. So you make this world to escape, but since it's based on that guilty concept, it also ends in death. It's like you bought a little bit of time, but since time just keeps on going around and around and around to the ego just keeps on chasing you all the lifetimes, using your energy to keep itself alive. And the ego's programmed with fear of dying, because the ego perishes, total annihilation. When you see this whole thing is meaningless and you can't see it anymore, there's no ego. So there's a real big fear of finding out. And it's that fear of finding out that makes it seem like it's interesting to pursue. At the bottom of it, what underlies everything that we're trying to pursue that makes us upset and unhappy is that fear of seeing that it is meaningless. Actually getting the perception of it being meaningless, it's extremely fearful for the ego. The ego doesn't want you to see that. It completely loses its job and any function for you. So it's basically like telling the ego, I don't need you anymore.
Social distance, ego.
Social distancing. Yeah, it's not there. It's not relevant. You always have, while you're perceiving a world, you always have the voice of the ego talking to you, which you can follow. And if you get to know the vibration of it, basically there's two emotions. Look at it as two emotions, love and fear. And it's one side or the other. There's the center line where it's neutral, and then it's a love or fear, right? When you find yourself fearful, that's the time where it's like, surrender what you're making meaningful right now. Ask for something different. Ask for a new interpretation, and be patient with it. Something that's really big is, people tend to condemn themselves for not getting it. As you're condemning yourself for not getting it, you can't really learn. And you've been given a guide. It's all the same guide. You've been given a guide that's sure to succeed. That guide is always holding gifts out to you. And when you're ready to receive them, you do. And your guide waits for you patiently to be ready. Okay, so it's been being patient with yourself also allows it to be easier and seem to go faster. See, it's always asking for that vision of how God sees you, and that's what your guide provides for you. This is your inner guide in your mind. Your guide provides for you. Your guide shares God's vision and also knows what you think of yourself, and is always showing you back to God's vision of who you are. And that, of course, spills over to who everything else is and what the world is. And you'll be completely released from all that fear. Completely released from it. Then you'll be able to go, someone will be able to go, hey, Molly, this is happening. We could all be locked up and in cages and fed to some dogs or something like that. And
I heard that one.
Oh, really? I don't even know where that came from. And you're just like, oh, thank you for letting me know. It gives you such a big relief, because you could go up against the fear, against the ego fear that the ego's just throwing out there like a projection, like, oh no, death, dogs biting me. Oh, thank you, because that's how the fear response is getting brought up so that it can be resolved. Then you're not going to be afraid of any kind of scenario.
But what is it being resolved for, though? Like, if nothing in the apparent realm is really having any effect on truth, why does it need to be taught or resolved?
So you can see the truth. So you can see creation. Because, whether anyone knows it or not, I know a lot of people are clinging to this illusion and wanting to keep it. I know that's how it is. But underneath that, a desire that's been put in your mind, you can say it was God's answer to your guilty self-belief. A desire in your mind to be aware of creation again, because that's what you really want. You want the deathless realm. It's not like there's not experience. There is experience. It's just not like anything that passes away. Nothing passes away. It's just an ongoing, loving, creative experience. You could say this experience isn't a creative experience because it's founded on guilt. It's extremely believable. You could say that, but it's not a real experience because the whole thing is founded on guilt. And so when you see through the guilty illusion and see what it is that's really creating, that is a real creative experience, and that's where you can actually create. In this kind of world, in dream world like that, you can't create at all. You can't create at all. Anything that you make will pass away. That's why it's not creating. Anything that you try to make is going to pass away. It's all going to get eaten. It's being consumed by consciousness, devoured. And so that's how you know, okay, it's not creating here. It's making things up. How do I get back to creating? Well, your creative function here is to make a choice between the truth and illusion. Do I want peace, or do I want this upset? Do I want to keep this upset feeling? And as you choose truth, what occurs is your mind gets purified of the guilty self-belief. And little by little, it's kind of being worn away until there's no guilty self-belief. And you don't feel like you want the world anymore. You don't feel like you want to hold this world up. And when you don't feel like you want the world, nothing's serious, nothing's of any concern, nothing's fearful, nothing's a problem.
Oh. Everything you're saying is total freedom.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Total freedom.
Every single thing you said.
You just like it so much, it's just so pretty and fun. It's hard to let go of.
Well, you are so pretty and fun, and everything that you have the perception of being pretty and fun, that comes from you. Remember, it's an interpretation being made by your brain. So you're getting the good, you got to get the beautiful with the ugly, because it was just the ugly, that would just be too much. It'd be like, come on, man. But you're getting a reflection of yourself. Anything that you see that looks like it's beautiful or wonderful or anything like that, it's a reflection of you. It's a reflection of who you are, and it's not in the world. It's not in the world. So you're always gonna, because of who you are, you're gonna even in the world have the perception of beauty. You're gonna have the perception of beauty. But that perception of beauty and how wonderful you think the world is and beautiful you think it is, it's like a shadow. It's actually like a shadow of what it's like in creation. You're gonna be so surprised. That's the thing. You're not going to remember this world. You're going to be so surprised and overjoyed. You're not even going to remember it. First, you're going to laugh and say, thank you so much. And then you're not going to remember it. Because the other thing is, it's so short in the scope of everything. It is. It's so small. It's nothing. So it's like you can have fun with it, especially when you're not trying to keep it. You're going to have a lot more fun with it. You're going to have a lot more fun with it. You're going to have a perception of way more beauty. And when you know what it's all for, and you're able to use every reaction for healing, it becomes beautiful no matter what seems to be arising in the perception. Just because you can use those sensations like that, it's the ultimate bliss that you could have in an illusion.
I can see that.
Yeah. So hooray, I need to go get my charger because this is at 6%. So talk amongst yourself. I'm going to let Nael on. He can come on and introduce himself to people.
6%.
I'm just going to put him on as panelist because I think he likes to be on video.
Yeah. Let's have a party. There's a party.
Lori.
Hello? Did he?
He didn't unmute himself.
Hello?
He's still muted. I see his microphone is crossed out.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
Oh,
he's
yeah, it is.
himself muted, maybe.
Hmm.
Maybe he doesn't want to come on.
So, beautiful over there, girls.
Yeah.
Looks very pretty behind you.
Yeah, we're
I'll show you.
farm sitting.
What? Farm sitting? Oh, look at. Oh, that's the ocean? Oh, wow. Look at that. Oh, hey, hello. Oh, guys, farm sitting. That. Your pets.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. I was figuring out the whole camera thing. It was a little hard. But thank you for sharing, both of you, what you guys were sharing. And it's like hearing everybody talk. It's like it's almost like a healing in itself, you know.
Oh,
Yay.
So thank you, and happy birthday to your family. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
I turned 21, so it was a big deal.
Yeah, that's so cool. You know, with the young lady that was the two young girls that we're talking about. I didn't get your names, but
Molly and Anand.
Molly and Anand. Cool. I used to have a lot of those kind of I still, a lot of my practice is to choose those thoughts, like choose the thoughts for me, because it's something that I've learned to just be kinder to myself. Because when I hear you say what you said, I had even those thoughts come back again, and I have to choose to be compassionate to my own self for thinking those thoughts. And
Beautiful.
so it's really courageous, first of all, that you guys talk about that. And one of the things that inspires me so much about this wisdom dialogues is the courage to be ourselves, our naked selves, you know.
We're naked.
It's so beautiful.
I'm naked. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Our authentic, beautiful selves.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank
Hey.
you.
You.
It's so real. So that's why one reason it's so fun to be naked right now is that feels like that it's a metaphor of that, you know. It's
That's awesome.
and like just being your full authentic self, not being afraid.
That's so free. It's so free. And I vicariously live through Hope's freedoms, you know, of being her authentic self. It's very this is something that why I wanted to come on, that might inspire you guys, that's inspiring me, is that us just sharing our message is a little lighting of the fire of sometimes for someone, even if they disagree. I've recently started practicing the deleting, or, you know, just like not responding. But I think just being ourselves kind of ignites something, whether it be an emotion of negative or positive. It's still a good thing because it's an emotion. So I just think it's good. It's good to be ourselves. And I'm grateful for Hope. And yeah, this is very inspiring. Very inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank
Fun.
you.
Yeah. I had a situation just recently with my whole family members. I had my sister. She started telling me how I didn't. She was just upset that I didn't ask her how she was doing or how her business was going on, and I told her, look, I think you're I just told her, I think you're just self-centered, and we're not here for that. We're not here to talk about you. We're just here to enjoy each other, because that was that's why we were all talking. We were like having a whole family thing, and she started attacking with that conversation.
Uh-huh.
And then the next thing that happened, she's like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. What do you mean I'm self-centered? I want you to explain that to me. I said, I'm not going to explain it to you. And she was like, no, you're going to explain it to me. I said, I have no desire or reason to entertain anything that has to have an argument with you. I'm not going to do it. And she was so angry at me. And I recognized, like,
Oops.
What happened?
Oh, right when he recognized something.
What did he recognize? Yeah.
Ah,
That was perfect.
Recognize.
No more arguments, no more conflict. It's done.
Look at me still.
Okay, so in case he's still watching on Facebook, when a family member lets you know that they don't like the way you're communicating, letting them know what you're making of them is not going to be helpful.
Same with mine. Same
Yeah.
as everything.
No one's gonna love that. So
did I go out? Wow,
You went
was
out. You
was
went
I
out.
talking?
right when you said, and then I realized, and then you cut out.
What? Oh, I don't remember how far. Then I realized what was I talking about?
You told your sister you don't want to engage with the argument, and you
Oh,
don't.
I told. Yeah, I told I have no desire to entertain an argument. I have no desire to. I have no interest. That's what I told her. I have no interest. And then my mom, because I don't talk to my family. I really have no interest in doing so. I have no emotions towards that, and it's not that I don't love them. I just don't do that, and it's okay. And but I just did it because I was checking on them for the whole fear, energy that was going around. So I wanted to check in on them, and so I stopped that. I set boundaries, and I said I'm not going to do that.
Okay, so do you notice how before you set the boundaries and stuff like that, you provoked your sister by telling her she's self-centered?
I noticed that.
Yeah.
I did notice that, but I also recognize that it is important to speak what we need to speak without being without hurting people, because I after the conversation I told her I loved her. I told her I'm not trying to, because she kept saying you're insulting me, you're da da da. I said I'm not insulting you, but this conversation is not about going into how you lost your business, how we're just all just having a good time, we're talking about but she wanted to make it personal, and I feel like it's okay to, I guess where I'm at in my journey, it's okay to express what I need to express, as long as I'm not hurting myself, because I know it's a mirror.
Yes, it's all a mirror. That's the thing. Now, look at this. When you have the perception of your sister being self-centered, if you have the perception of that, it's not true about her. It's not really true about her. And if you want to convince her that she's that way, that's an attack on your mind. Any trying to convince her that she's that way. So one thing about protecting innocence, that means protecting the one innocent child of God, is to refrain from trying to convince someone that they are the way you see them. They are not the way you see them. you're seeing them in error. And so
Yeah.
there's some kind of an energy here. And look, there's nothing wrong with the way with however you express, because it's all for learning. It's all for learning how to let go of the guilty self-concept that you have, so you could be released from guilt and you could see reality again. So you could see creation again. That's the goal. That's the goal.
That's beautiful.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when someone brings up, and family members are the best for this, when someone brings up, hey, you don't even do this and this and this and this for me, like you were talking about with your sister, it's like, what you'd like to be able to teach your mind to demonstrate is, oh, thank you for letting me know, as a demonstration, not so much those words, but to actually be able to take it like that. Oh, thank goodness. Thank you for letting me know. Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. You know, the expression might come up like that. Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. And yeah, I know, you know, that's the kind of guy I am. That's the kind of guy I am. I just really don't.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's wrong. It's not like you're wrong, and it's not like they're wrong. It's not like they're self-centered or anything like that. It's just that I understand it's gotta hurt. That's the kind of dude I am. I don't ask about shit like that. You know, I'm into some stuff. Maybe we could find common ground. Maybe we could find something that we like to talk about together, and then we could talk about stuff together.
Yeah, I think what happened was that she, right off the bat, started attacking me for not asking her about her business and about her situation, and we were all just talking about
So you
kids and I guess she herself. My higher selves would have been to have more compassion, but I was just kind of not in the mood. So I'm learning to have compassion for myself for opening my mouth and not practicing more higher levels of compassion. But I'm also learning that it's okay to be myself.
It's all okay. Yes, it is. It's all okay. It's all okay, and it's all a learning experience. And ultimately what you want and what you will see, because you're being guided that way anyways, you will see that you will be able to have all of your relating with compassion. You know, it'll never feel like you're too tired or not in the mood or anything like that. While you're going through it, it's all for learning.
Yes.
It's all for learning. And it can't go wrong. It totally can't go wrong. It shows you how your reflections are, you know, it's like, oh, this is reflecting. Because see, the thing is, don't put it over to them. You're going to learn a lot faster. It'll be a lot easier if you don't put it over to them. And always admit, I cannot be seeing clearly if I see this person as anything I wouldn't want to be.
Yes.
Because it's like the mind, the way it is, as being led by ego, it's totally attacking. And in perceiving yourself as being attacked, that's your mind attacking too. See?
Yes.
It's also your mind attacking that, and that's the way it is. You could say that they're not there. What you think that you're attacking and what you see them attacking, that's not really there. God has you and them completely tucked away, all safe from these ridiculous attacks that seem to be going back and forth.
Yes. Thank you.
No one's really harming each other. No one's really harming each other. And at the same time, I know what you want. I know you want that heart-opening, beautiful connection. And so when you come on Wisdom Dialogues and you have stories like that, there's going to be pointers. But just never take it as you did it wrong, because that'll only feed you.
Yeah, I think what's helped me a lot is to release the need to be okay with family, with my direct family. You know, there's a sense of guilt when you're trying to fix things with them or be in a good relationship. And when we started having an argument, what my brother told me, Mo, this is just fucked up. Families don't need to talk and blah, blah, blah. I said, no, this is not fucked up. This is great. This is great. We express ourselves. This is perfect. It's perfect the way everyone's arguing. And I started laughing when I was saying that, because I was like, it really, no family is, the dynamics are going to be messy, and that's okay too. So
Yeah.
I guess,
and here's the thing. It looks like that too, and it always looks like that with my family too. It always looks like that, like there's all these dynamics and stuff. But the thing is, at this point, I'm out of that. I'm not in any of the arguments.
absolutely.
I hang out with the family and everything like that, but there's none of the arguments concern me.
Exactly.
Neutrality, and everyone knows that they're safe with me. They can just talk to me, and it's just a neutrality with everything. So I'm not in them. I basically don't engage them. Let's say I don't, because
That's good.
I don't need it. So if someone says, "Oh, Hope, you should be doing like this," and I'll be like, probably like, "Oh, thank you for letting me know," and that's the end of that. And I don't mind if they like me or not. I don't mind if they like me or not. What I see is that everyone's hanging around with me. They seem to like me. It looks like it.
Yeah. I love it. I was going to ask you a question. With the whole fear-driven virus thing, I came out at the beginning of it with a very clear focus of what I wanted to get out of it personally.
Okay.
And that was just an opportunity to have more fun and more joy. And at the beginning, my expression of self, which I believe it's authentic, I feel that for myself, would get attacked on a regular basis. And I'm just like, I understood that I would look into myself and ask myself, like, where am I asking for this, or where am I needing this kind of validation, this negative validation from people? And then I came to this conclusion the latest, a friend of mine got really sick with the virus or whatever. And I had a sense of compassion for his fear experience. I felt a level of compassion, but I checked myself, because I was like, I'm not letting that be a truth for me, because it's not a truth. It's something that he's experiencing, but I get to have more compassion for him through the process, and letting him know, like, I told him, I can hug you. I don't care. Like, to me, I was like, it didn't matter to me, and I feel that way now, but I'm also being more sensitive to people that are in that need, that are, if I want to say, I'm not I don't say it from an ego base, but I really believe that the people that are fearful about it now were fearful about the other, whatever thing was going on last week. They're just riding a wave of fear, no matter what it is. It's an attitude. It's an attitude. It has nothing to do with the virus. So for me, it's like now it's intensified. So where I'm at this point, and where my question comes, is I want to share the truth, which the truth is that everything's fine and all is well. Nothing is happening, and there's more than enough abundance. All our needs are met. All our needs of everyone else is going to be met. But I've been catching myself being a lot more allowing people to share their fears more. And I'm wondering, am I becoming a sellout because I'm allowing them to? Because usually I'm very militant with what I allow in my, like, even the conversations. I'm like, I don't want to hear that shit. You leave that fear outside of my house, or I don't want to have that conversation. But
Well,
lately,
that's fear of fear. So you're opening
that's
up.
fear of fear. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just like being a little bit more, I'm allowing people to speak their fears and just not trying to change them, just being like, dude, I love you. You know, I'm sorry you're going through that. I'm here for you. And they're like, oh, thank you for supporting my fear, you know? And I feel it's a way of loving them in a way. But I have this little thing in the back of my head saying, am I selling out?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's the question.
I can help you with that for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're just getting more sensitive to what's being asked of you. And see,
Okay.
there's nothing that their fear can do for you. And you listening to their fearful story is not supporting the fear unless you're resisting it. Your resistance to it is supporting fear a lot more than you think. When you're saying, I don't want that fear in this house, that's supporting fear. See, you're making fear real. The thing is that it's not real. If it's real to another person, okay, that's their reality right now. If that's reality now, just like a child who's afraid, you would comfort them, right? So you're comforting the person, and you know you're probably not gonna find yourself making the fear real as in trying to justify it, but you're more likely to find yourself making the fear real as in trying to resist it. Even if you're asking the question, am I a sellout because I'm listening to this fear? That's a question that's also coming from fear. You're not doing anything. You're asked to communicate, and communication is love. So if someone's coming to you and saying, oh my gosh, I'm suffering so much, this is what I'm thinking, this and this and this and this, you know that what they're thinking is all illusion. You allow what's coming up against your resistance to relax about it. Just let it relax. So it's in your feeling, it's in your body's energy field. And that's how, you know, your body gets used as a device for healing, for communication, because you get the relief in your body's energy field. And what you have to share is that relief, not some spiritual concept, but you're actually have that relief to share. At the bottom of it, that's really what you have. So telling people and putting some concept on a person isn't always going to be something that they can receive, but everyone can receive that sense of relief. So you're allowing yourself to have that sense of relief, and your energy is so embracing. People get what they need from you, and they're just like, thank you. Okay, you don't have to be militant.
No, I think we get that from you. Yeah, I'm working on that hot or cold. I'm trying to be lukewarm. Because that hot or cold analogy has made me not have as much fun, you know?
Right. So that, yeah, you're talking about the training where you kind of like put it in people's faces and stuff like that. Is that what you mean?
Well, everything in my life, I'm very not an extremist, but I do what I say I'm gonna do, you know? And
well, you don't even have a choice in that.
yeah.
You're watching a character that is programmed to do what they say they're gonna do.
Right. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't take any pride in that or anything. You know, it's just all this, it's really all the same. That's why I say generalize it, make it all one thing. Whatever you seem to be, whatever other people seem to be, is just a story. And really, you want to see through it. You don't want anything but to see through this dream. But thinking that you want something else makes it so that you go for conflict.
Yes, I can see that. I see a lot. That's my practice. I've been seeing that I desire subconsciously conflict and for validation. I see that.
It makes you feel alive.
It makes me feel alive. But I'm at the point where it's not rewarding. So it's not, I don't need it. But last question, because I know you got other people. I have not been working as I'm a therapist, and I've been not working. And I got this opportunity to work online and give therapy online. But lately, like I was supposed to do some training and stuff like that. I don't have a desire. I've been becoming very skeptical about the whole practice of the mind, you know, about every, like everything, not skeptical, but I just like, one of the reasons I really appreciate who you are is you're fucking authentic, you know, and that's beautiful. That's something that I desire to be, you know. I think that that's what we all long to be. And I just feel like learning more things. This big question asked myself, like, to work in that line of work is like, why do I want to learn more? Like, what for? You know what I mean? Like, that's the biggest question for me. Like, I don't feel I feel that my learning needs to be unlearning. That's where I feel like where I'm at.
Nice.
What?
I said nice. You have a question about that?
Well, I'm wondering if that's stupid. I'm wondering if that's stupidity.
Well,
you know,
it's really either way. So if you're drawn to the learning, if you're drawn to that kind of learning, then just let it be what it is. You don't have to question it. If you're drawn to it, just let it be. Because the learning that is really taking place, none of this learning means anything. So come back to, it doesn't fucking mean anything. So what's the most fun for you? Is it fun for you to learn that? Then do it, you know, but it's like behind everything else, or you could say along with everything else that you seem to be doing, you're learning how to see through this illusion. And that's the important learning that's going on. That's the only learning that means anything. So all the other things that you learn, if you like it, go ahead.
I guess I like it. I love reading about the brain, and I love learning the new edge things and how to do things. But the more I practice these type of learnings, like what you're about and what Spirit's about, it's not fucking real.
Yeah.
It's like you realize that nothing, like I love religions, and I love all the, like, I can see behind the scripts the essence of it, of the love of Spirit.
Yeah.
But none of it, it's all bullshit. You know, it's like it's not real. But at the same token, the whole mind thing is also a fact. It's all stories. We've all come up with the stories, and there's all
brain. Is that what you're talking about?
What's that?
Study
the brain. The study of the brain. Sorry. Yeah. So it's just, I feel like you can work, like help. I'm not, if I don't say one word and just listen. What?
You're cutting out again.
Oh, okay. That's probably Spirit that's telling me to shut up. All I'm saying is I'm losing interest because I feel like there's nothing to learn but unlearn.
Yeah, there is nothing to learn. So you can look at it like, if it's fun to learn, great. It doesn't matter. It's just that it doesn't matter. You know, if you only want to learn something if it matters, then nothing matters. There's nothing to learn. But if you like to learn stuff, like I learned to play the harp, I take harp lessons every week and study the harp, and it doesn't fucking matter, but I enjoy it. So
okay.
You might like to learn about the brain, which doesn't exist, just like the heart doesn't exist, because you enjoy it. So it's not like it's a bad thing. It's not like you're doing anything wrong. It might, you know, it might even, if you're open to it, take you even deeper into your spiritual practice. You don't know. You don't know. You know, one guy who had a major awakening, got a major awakening. His name's Bruce Lipton. A lot of you guys probably heard of him. Got a major awakening by being a biologist. So you start studying the brain, you don't know. I mean, what it comes down to with the brain is the whole world is being interpreted by the brain. That's already been shown. That's like known. That's one thing. Like if you put together, okay, virus is contagious with the whole world is projected from your brain, they don't go together. They just don't go together. So it's like this is known and this is known, but they don't go together.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for being you, and I really enjoy Lori, her interaction and her stories and her teachings too, and Bob. And I listen to you guys usually like when I'm like driving somewhere, or like it's very educational and entertaining, and I'm grateful. So.
Aww.
Thank you. And I can't wait to see you guys.
Well, they've canceled our flight, so it'll be a different time. I will come.
Yeah, I'd love to move to Hawaii. I told my wife, I told her, I want a horse. I told her I want to buy a horse, and I want a couple acres of land, and she just looked at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? I said, I'm thinking like, why not do the things that you want to do? You know what I mean? Like, or not want to do, but the things that you said you wanted to do, but I don't know.
Well,
why
just
not?
letting yourself be open, you know, just
Yeah.
letting yourself be open. And that's how I got to Hawaii. It's like there were these ideas that I couldn't move to Hawaii, and I just looked past each of those ideas that I couldn't move to Hawaii.
Yeah.
So you just look past all the ideas that say you can't do whatever it is that seems to make your heart sing, and those things are already arising for you anyways. Once you feel like you have the desire for something, that's already in motion anyway. So you can just like leave it.
Okay.
Leave it, and don't follow any thoughts that tell you that you can't have it. And also, it's good to remember that you don't really know what you want.
I don't.
Told exactly as it goes.
I do want to have more fun. I feel like I told my wife yesterday, I told her, let's have more fun. And she's like, I've been telling you, I want to have more fun too. Let's do more fun things. And I think that's just the state of mind. So I'm grateful.
That's
so
definitely true. It is. As there's willingness to let things be forgiven, you have more fun. Like you have to forgive the world, basically. You're already forgiven, but you have to forgive the world because you're holding judgments against the world. Obviously. If you perceive a world, you're holding judgments to hold it up. So it's like all through it, you have to forgive the world for what you made it do.
Yeah.
And as you do that, it's like you've been forgiven, which you never needed forgiveness, but it's like you've been forgiven because all that judgment has been being held on yourself by you.
I know. It's developing the practice for me of what keeps me developing a habit, because I get that way of no judgment after plant-based medicine, like ceremonies and stuff like that. Like I get reset. I let go of a lot of things. And without practice of the meditations, of the listening to the things that I need to listen to, keep the right conversations, the right choices for me, I lose track and go back to that manure chicken feed thinking or the judgment thinking. So I just need to practice more. At the same time, I guess, what's that?
Yeah, it's obvious. It's just that the conditioning is something that's been practiced a lot all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. So with the conditioning being practiced all the time, it's like reconditioning needs to happen. That's why you feel lighter whenever you have ceremony or you listen or get in the word, so to speak, you know, because it's giving you the direct opposite of what your conditioning is. But then conditioning takes over again, and it's the way you taught the world, let's say. That's why the world reflects it back to you. So the world also reflects back the conditioning. So by getting your spiritual practice in, basically, you know, listening when it appeals to you, and you know the suffering will make it appeal to you. Isn't that great? When it appeals to you, don't force it on yourself. It's not going to do anything for you. But when it appeals to you, taking the listening to wisdom dialogues or whatever it is, spiritual text that gets you tuned in. You know, see how much you can stay tuned in. And when you're not tuned in, the suffering is going to inspire you to tune in. Isn't that fun? So you're just doing it all the time.
Yes, so full. I've also recently learned that, for my awareness, that nobody is exempt from spirit. You know, like there's a lot of times we say people aren't awake, and that's a ego quote from ourselves. You know, we don't know that, and you know, there's just different colors and shapes of awakenness that we are not seeing. We get one perception of what spirit might be mirroring to us for us to work within ourselves. So I just think, like, for me, I'm just speaking for me, of course, but I used to think like, oh, this person doesn't have, there's no way this person's going to get this. Like, and then spirit like told me, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Who are you to say who can or cannot hear this or that or listen to you? Like, what are you, you know? So, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for being you. You inspire me, and to be me.
Wonderful.
And yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Nael.
Yeah, Amy's in a class. If not, she would be here. She's in a class right now. But you know, I guess if anything, it can give hope to people. You know, the first time I heard Wisdom Dialogues, I had a really hard time. It was very challenging for me. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like that's lunacy, you know? And so it's been a beautiful journey, because I've been realizing I listened to it. So I guess it just like, I've learned to not give up on people that quickly, you know?
Yeah.
Like just like personally for me. Because it's through Wisdom Dialogues, like I question like where it's coming from. But anyway, thank you. Love you guys.
I love you. Aloha.
Yes. Thank you.
Mom, were you gonna say something earlier?
Oh, I wanted to tell him, if he didn't already know, that the Big Island is a great place for horses. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love the Big Island. I just the heat. I don't know if I can do that.
That's just Kona. So the horses are up country, and just like Maui, just like up country Maui, there's a lot of land. Like Waimea is very cool, and it's not super wet, but it's kind of cool and like a little misty, very green and lush. But very foresty. It's up a few thousand. Some places are up a few thousand feet.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I kind of dig. I definitely think that Hawaii would be a place for me, or Mexico. something like different, you know? So, yeah.
Check out the
Thank
Big
you.
Island. It has tons of different climates, and really good for horses and ranch land. Yeah, ranch.
Thank you. I've always, since I was a kid, loved horses. I loved,
Ew.
I had this desire for them. It was weird. And then just recently I told my wife, like, what are we going to do after the silliness is done? And we were like, well, I don't know. What do you want to do? I said, I want a horse.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
So,
I always told my family growing up, I want to live on a farm. And they always said, no, you don't want to do that. No, you don't do that. I moved to the Big Island. They're like, no, you don't want to do that. And like, then it's all happening now. And I'm like, that's it. I told you, I'm going to live on a farm.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
How do we how do we stop being judgmental to ourselves? I mean, I know that's a big question, but
Same with with anything. It's all judgment. It's all judgment. So it's all judgment to yourself. If you are analyzing yourself, and that's something that I see in you just from talking with you a little bit, and it's really good too. Analyzing yourself. If you're analyzing yourself, you're already judged.
but everything is a judgment, right? Like everything is a judgment, but how do we not judge ourselves in a way that, because see, maybe, and I'm open to that.
Don't make an image of yourself. Don't make any image of yourself. Don't make it.
Don't give any energy to the thought.
Yeah. It's whether it seems to be a good judgment or a bad judgment, you don't have to make that thought meaningful. It doesn't mean anything about you. Just like when you just said you do the things you say you're going to do, that's not meaningful. There's nothing meaningful about that. That's building the sense of self. It's building up your self-image. That sets you up for judgment.
I see.
You see, you might, if you have that perception of yourself, see another person that doesn't do what they say they're going to do, and then it seems like they've got some kind of problem, but really you're just putting judgment on yourself. You're just judging yourself. So if you're willing to stop making thoughts meaningful, that's how you stop judging yourself. And it really helps to feel what it feels like, to get the feeling, because then you can see what the thought is doing to you.
Okay. I think I'm understanding. I guess my challenge has been that I used to post 5 years ago. I used to have this humility kind of thing of no ego, and like I was on that vibe of it's all Jesus, nothing but God working through me, you know. And the last 5 years I've been like, fuck that. I'm gonna love myself. It's me. And I'm done people attacking my character. So I started creating this like loving myself. But at the same time, I feel that I'm very hard on myself too. I'm very judgmental. I can see it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to, how do we stop doing that?
It's moment by moment.
At the same time. So I know complicated. Moment by moment.
Yeah.
Got
So
it.
it's moment
Thank
by
you.
moment, and notice how you feel. If you feel any kind of bit of upset, you've judged yourself. And you can only, and look at this, you can only judge yourself wrongly. You can only judge yourself wrongly. It's God's judgment is what's going to satisfy you, let's say. And God's judgment is the only judgment that's real. So whatever it is that you judge yourself to be, you could just ask for another interpretation. The Holy Spirit will give you an interpretation that actually means something, but you have to ask for it. You have to not be leaning to your own understanding about who you think you are. So it's each moment, from moment to moment, thoughts probably who knows, maybe like 100,000 a day come to tell you who you are. Don't accept that interpretation. That's not who you are. Don't accept any interpretation that makes you into a limited person amongst other people.
How do we share? Okay, we have a similar background, and this is the conflict that I have. When I'm talking to my clients, I never share my personal life. I don't feel it's irrelevant, really.
Yeah.
But I feel at times that I have things that can help people that I've gone through that help me, like how to work through this or that. But then when I start telling the story, you know, I have these little things where like there's a little bit of judgment on myself even going on into those stories, you know, because some of them are dark, but I have forgiveness, but the dark part of it is just like yucky. It feels yucky to go there. You know what I mean? Like,
so you're getting that feeling at that time. Get that feeling, and what you're looking for is a sense of relaxation in recognizing that none of that happened. None of that actually happened. You're telling a story about nobody, about nothing. The only time you really need to tell a story, or story is really useful to tell, is if it's helpful in awakening. If it's helpful,
there you go.
it's helpful. So just in asking, is it helpful? And when you notice any kind of guilt, or, you know, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've had that occur for me before too. It's just a matter of noticing that feeling, not making it wrong or anything. And when you notice it and you allow the compassion for it, not in resisting it, the healing is happening. And you know what? You're acknowledging that the healing is happening is really, really helpful. And because healing is happening, and when you don't acknowledge it, when you make it like, oh, that's just gonna stay with me, it's just gonna whatever, that becomes your experience.
Oh.
So you can be excited, like you're telling a story, and it's like, ooh, and you get curious about it. It's like, oh, that's an indication that healing is happening now. Oh, okay, good. Let me not interfere with it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so beautiful.
All right, I'm
And
checking out, everyone. I'm checking out. I have a dinner date at 5:30, and it's 5. I'm very excited about it.
Thanks.
So, yay. Until next week, you can check out the videos. Go to hopejohnson.org and you can see the videos. You can also get on my podcast. I put everything on podcast now. And the Monday ones are still going on. Monday in-person wisdom dialogues are still happening, and those go on YouTube. I already got it on YouTube from yesterday. I'll get it on the podcast pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yay! I appreciate you. Thank you for your donations. Anyone who has donation they'd like to give, go to hopejohnson.org/donate. You could also find my book there. I have a book called Unschooling for Parents. It's super duper fun. So go over there and check it out. Also, I'm looking for anyone that would like to help me donate technical services. I would really like to get highlights for my videos. If anyone knows how to do that, that would be awesome. Yay! So until next week, mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho. Yay!
Bye.
Aloha.